Hello, I'm Sarah Long, Director of the North Suburban Library System, and your host for What's New in Libraries, the show that keeps you up to date with what's new in a library in your neighborhood. We want to encourage you to think about the library as the go-to place in your community. Today we'll be going to the Schaumburg Township District Library to learn about special programs they offer for teens. We'll visit the Harper College Library and find out why librarians are needed now more than ever. The Glenview Public Library recently had a reception for local authors, and the Des Plaines Public Library did the Dewey for a fundraiser. So stay with us. I'd like you to meet Amy Alessio, who's the teen coordinator here at the Schaumburg Township District Library. Amy, you have a strange aura about you. Is it because you won a prize recently?
Oh, that was very exciting to win the Innovation Award through North Suburban Library System. I feel like it really validated the importance of teen services. It was very exciting.
And so the teen invasion, I mean, we all have our fears about teenagers. Did they really invade?
Well, you know, they invade here almost every day, but what teen invasion was, we coordinated with other agencies in the area. I run a teen network of people from the police departments and the counseling centers, the YMCA, churches, schools. Anybody who's got a teen group is invited to join this. And what we decided to do was to let teens know about other organizations. So they got points for going to the mall, and Woodfield Mall was really integral in that program. Going to the mall, going to the minor league baseball games, going to the centers, doing the summer reading program, that of course got big points and things like that.
So it was sort of encouraging kids to get out into the community.
Yes, my teen board told me they were bored and there was nothing to do.
Oh,
so I said,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
I knew that wasn't true.
And so what this represented was this wonderful consortium that you put together of agencies and groups and even businesses that care about teens.
Correct.
And have things to offer them.
Yes.
It's a great idea.
It's a lot of fun. The network, we're gearing up for Teen Invasion this year again, but also during the year, several of us who'd met in this network had some dances together, which is nice because I don't have the facility here to have a big dance, so I hooked up with the counseling center who has a gym, or we hooked up with the Y and we had a Mardi Gras party, so it's really been nice to work together with the other agencies and things that traditionally I think maybe libraries aren't thinking of partnering with, like the police. I had a police detective came and did my mystery night after being in Teen Invasion. Yes, he took it very seriously, but...
Oh, that's great. Well, I know that you have a teen advisory board. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
You know, they're kind of different from other library boards. What they are, they're 7th through 12th graders, and it's evenly split, and it's mainly boys right now. I don't know why. They come once a month, and they help me give ideas for library programs, but mainly they're a club. What I found is that many of them are not comfortable in traditional school clubs or other things, and they come here, they're anonymous, they meet kids from the 8 other schools, and a lot of them are very troubled. We've had all kinds of interesting things, and luckily I now have a partnership with the counseling center, so I can send some of the kids over there.
That's great.
So that's worked out really well. I love those kids, the teen board. It is more of a club than anything, though.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So is a possibility of more than one advisory board even?
I would like to split it. 30 is too many to do a lot of things productively at the meetings. They don't seem to mind, but my staff and I go crazy.
Yeah.
We've split off a writing club, the ones who are a little bit more serious about those kind of things, and that is overflowing now too. So we're hoping to increase the number of meetings and activities for both groups next year.
So, you know, I had teenage boys myself
Sure.
once, and Sometimes I think only a mother loves them. What's your secret? Why do you love teens so much?
You know, I don't know. I think sometimes I relate well to them. I know that I wasn't happy in high school, and I just felt like there wasn't a good place for a lot of them to go anonymously. And I have a criminal justice background, so I used to be a probation officer. I was happy to work with the police department, and I think for whatever reason I'm attracting those kind of border kids, and I'm happy to have them and to provide a place for them. So.
That's great. Yeah. And are these teens reading?
You know, they tell me they don't read, but the circulation numbers have gone way up in our area here. What they really like are the graphic novels, and I found a lot of the boys like the nonfiction. So I think they do read, they just don't tell me.
So for our listening and viewing audience, what is a graphic novel?
Oh, it's a kind of a longer comic book with more in-depth plot. It's a lot of them come from Japan with the anime and the manga. It's a very exciting format, and it's bringing the kids back to reading in a way I haven't seen. I've seen so many new kids since I've added them here. I think, you know, when did we decide that picture books are too young for teens? I think this is their way of getting back into that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a quick read, too, I suppose.
It is. They love them.
Yeah, that's great. And an action story, I would project.
Yes. Yes, many of them are very exciting. Some of them are violent. You know, we have a lot of the superhero ones and that. I get many challenges about them, which is interesting. I hadn't, but not from the teens. The only comment I get from them is to buy more.
So what are you thinking about on the horizon? What's new?
Well, I'd like to make teen invasion easier. Last year, we did have big prizes. There was a $1,000 scholarship. There were things like that, but I think that the teens felt it wasn't attainable. So this year we're having 4 different raffles instead of one big one. It's going to run all summer long and gain the momentum. So I'm trying to make that a lot easier for people. Other things on the horizon, the community network met this week. I think we're going to have some more cooperative dinners with our teens and get the different agencies' teens talking to each other. So that's the next thing. It's exciting.
Anything else you'd like to add?
You know, I can't think of offhand. I was so excited winning that award. I know many places are new to teen services and that, but I really feel like you've been supportive of them for a long time at your facility, which is exciting.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Amy. Always fun to talk to you.
Oh, you too, Sarah.
This is Joe Accardi, Dean of Resources for Learning here at Harper College. And Joe, we've been friends a long time. And I know you've worked in a number of academic institutions, and I understand that the way that academic libraries serve their constituency is really changing, perhaps driven by the internet, but talk about that a little bit, if you will.
Okay, a lot of it is driven by the internet, and it's driven by the opportunities that the internet has provided for, in particular, distance learning. Colleges are very much in tune with serving a wide variety of students, and some students find it more valuable for them not to have to travel to go take classes. So they take distance learning classes via the internet. And at Harper College, one of the things we're trying to address is how to serve those remote learners out there.
So would they come here ever?
They would. Typically right now there are a mix of students out there who take a variety of different types of courses. They take on-campus courses face-to-face, and they will take 1 or 2 online courses as well. So yeah, we do still see a lot of people in the Harper Library.
Well, now let me go back to a question you sort of alluded to, and as librarians we've all heard this. People will sidle up to you at a party or some other event when they know you're a librarian. They'll say, do you really think we need the library when everybody has a computer on their desk? So we're really going to need the academic library when all students have access to everything electronically?
Well, whenever I hear that kind of thing, it sort of makes the hairs on my neck stand up because, you know, I've read in various places about people who say, well, I have the, you know, Microsoft Encarta installed on my machine. I have access to the internet. I can Google wherever I want to go. What do I need the library for? Well, I can tell them what they need the library for. There's so much information out there that is inaccurate, unauthorized, and simply not true in many cases, that it's hard for people to distinguish the the relevancy and the authority and the timeliness of the kinds of information they're getting out there on the internet if they're just Googling around. And what they, many times what students need and what the teachers demand of them is a refereed type of authoritative article written by professionals who know what they're doing. A perfect example of this was in some of the bibliographic instruction classes that we teach here at Harper. I sat in on one, and the instructor for that class, one of our librarians, showed the difference between a few of the Googling around for biographical information on Dylan Thomas, the poet. And she brought up several different sources of information, each of which had conflicting facts about Dylan Thomas, and none of which were really authoritative sources. So she directed those students to the types of licensed databases that the library subscribes to, in which they can find the accurate descriptions and biographical information for these kinds of authors and poets.
So, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to show you around the library.
So I see, is this fiction here?
This is. We do provide popular fiction and nonfiction.
Does it go out?
It does. It circulates quite heavily. We also provide audiobooks as well,
Oh, that's
and
great
they're
for
very
that
popular
commute.
too. Yes, when we commute to meetings in Springfield and Urbana, this is a very popular resource.
And it's probably a safety help, too.
Yes,
So you have a lot of computers here.
we do. There are more than 50 computers in the public area, and typically each one of them has a student using them. Right now, this is, of course, Friday, the last day of regular classes, and people are gearing up for exams next week.
It looks like we're coming up on reference.
This is the reference department. You can tell by some of the reference materials that are laying out on top of the stacks that they're used quite heavily. In fact, we are going to be adding some more shelving here because we still do build a print collection as well as an electronic resource collection. That's one of the many challenges that libraries all over have, particularly academic libraries, but I know public libraries deal with the same issues of balancing print and electronic resources and trying to stretch your funding enough to be able to do that kind of balancing. This is the main stacks area. This is actually the second floor of the library. The first floor area has our circulation desk. It has a number of audiovisual workstations, study carrels with DVDs.
It's like this is the oldie corner.
Yes, this is an armoire and secretary that were donated by some folks. I believe they were actually pieces that were owned by William Rainey Harper.
And say something about his history in the area. I know he was important not only here but to the whole area.
Yes, he was. William Rainey Harper was president of the University of Chicago, who felt that the first 2 years of the college experience were very important, and that a system of community colleges should be established to provide that opportunity for students. And so our college is named after him.
That's great. So he was kind of the impetus for the whole state system of community colleges here in Illinois.
Yes, he was. And Joliet, I believe, was the first community college in Illinois.
Now, I know that this was back in the 60s, right?
Yes.
That this was a movement sweeping the country, so it's not like we were the only state thinking of this.
Oh, no. There are very prominent community college systems around the country, in California and Florida in particular.
So what else?
What else do we have here?
I see some bodies or something over there.
Well, we try to serve the needs of a number of different types of students. These are the needs of our nursing students. These are anatomical displays.
So you can check out a body part.
Well, we used to check them out, but we'd find that we'd get the pieces back and we'd be missing a brain or a spleen or something. So we instead decided to put the materials in a reserve area behind the circulation desk, and the students can come in and sign in, and they can take a look and spend time here and talk with each other. We have microscopes back there, too, for the students to deal with slides and things.
So again, what is that URL for the distance learning site that you mentioned?
Okay, it's the Distance Learning Information Center, and the URL is www.harpercollege.edu/distance learning, and that's all one word.
Okay, we'll flash that on the screen and we'll all log on.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
You've heard that expression, the go-to person. Well, I've got a suggestion for you. The library is the go-to place. No matter what your need is, your information need or your need for leisure, go to the library and you'll find it there. Suppose, for example, since it's spring, that you were interested in gardening. Well, at the library, you can find all sorts of tips and hints, not only in books and magazines, but also on videos and other programs that happen in libraries, all about gardening. Or suppose your relative has come down with high blood pressure and you need to know more about that. Again, at the library, you can find out more. Or suppose the grandchildren are visiting and they need a little intellectual stimulation. At the library, you can go for programs, you can go for books, you can go for videos, all sorts of things that will amuse any child of any age visiting you. Also at the library, I would suggest that they're crammed full of go-to people. Remember, the librarian is someone who is all current with all kinds of information strategies. If using the internet is a confusing process to you, if you get 5,486 hits for what seemed like a simple search, ask your librarian to help you figure out how you can smooth and streamline your search strategy so that the internet is less confusing. So when you think about a go-to place or a go-to person, think of the library. It's the place, it's the person. We're at the Glenview Author Reception, and it's my pleasure to be talking to Eleanor Porter Swigert. Eleanor, you've written books about the law, but tell me how you got started in writing.
Well, I moved here from New York 35 years ago and had been very active in all kind of community activities, and I decided I'm going to not raise my hand at PTA. I'm going to try to do writing on my own because I'd always been interested in it. And I joined a group called Off-Campus Writers Workshop in Winnetka, which is a very good support group and information about marketing. And through that group, I sold my first book, which was Mexico for Kids, about traveling with your children in Mexico.
So it was a book for parents?
For parents and for children, to show which sites you would do. And that led to a book about Europe and the same thing, a grand tour kind of thing, because you take kids to Paris and you don't want to do all the things in Paris with kids. So I pointed out where you could go in the Louvre.
Merry-go-round, somebody told me.
Yeah, that's right. And those books were very successful, but I began at that time speaking to kids in schools about writing because teachers wanted a live author, that kind of thing. And when I did that and someone introduced me as a lawyer, I noticed that the kids had many questions to ask me afterwards about law. And I didn't realize young people nowadays have so much contact with law. Their dog has to have a license. They know about someone in juvenile court and so forth. Anyhow, they have a lot of TV that also.
Well, Law and Order.
Right. So I collected about 700 or 800 questions from junior high students and wrote the first book about law, which was interpreting law for young people.
So this was a book for
a book for really 7th and 8th grade. It was called The Law and You, a handbook for young people, and it was everything you wanted to know about law if you were in that age group. And that book was a Junior Literary Guild selection and went into 3 editions.
That's great.
But in the meantime, I had been asked to do a book about careers in law, and before long, a publisher called me and asked me about doing a high school textbook for teachers that wanted to do a unit about law but didn't have resource material. I should footnote that by saying there's now a great deal of resource material, but there wasn't. This is in the late 70s. There wasn't much available.
Did you do it?
And so I did the high school textbook, which had chapters on various things that would be of interest to high school students, such as a chapter on vehicle law,
Very
a
interesting
chapter,
to a 16-year-old.
right, and a chapter on, of course, juvenile court, and a chapter on property law, a chapter on whatever subject were of interest. There were about 12 chapters, and it was prepared so that teachers could use one chapter if that's all the time they had. And that involved about 1,200 hours of research in the Northwestern Law Library, and my eyes were gone by the time I finished that. So I had met some very interesting women lawyers, and I decided to do a book of biographies of famous women lawyers, which was, again, different then because I graduated from law school more than 50 years ago and was only one of 3 women in the class of 130, and that was true of most of the women in my book. They were kind of
pioneers.
Well, right, but there wasn't any difficulty except women didn't seem to want to do that. And so I wrote a book about women lawyers at work, which included Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was later nominated to the Supreme Court, was then teaching at Columbia Law School, and she was in the book because she had argued some of the first women's rights cases in the Supreme Court. And also in the book was Pat Schroeder, who was a congresswoman.
Now with the American Association of Publishers.
Right, that's true. You know that. Right, that is true. And a federal judge who was a friend of mine, a woman who was the first woman elected to the Supreme Court in Michigan, Mary Coleman, and a lot of other first woman to be a tenured professor at Harvard Law School. She let me attend her classes and do all kinds of things. So it was a fun project, and interviewing people is so much more fun than just sitting in the library and doing research, much as I love libraries.
That you never would have gotten onto otherwise.
That is absolutely true. With Ruth Ginsburg, we went into the fact that she worked when her children were quite small. She has a boy and a girl, and we talked about any difficult things, and she told me about the time that her little boy had gotten into the cleaning cabinet and swallowed some terrible material, and she was called from her classroom, and a lot of traumatic things. It isn't always easy.
No.
Pat Schroeder told me about the fact that her father pushed her into this at a very early age. He said you should learn to fly a plane and that. Mostly the parents, surprisingly, were very supportive.
That's very
You know, a lot of people think that they wouldn't have wanted their children to do it. And my own experience was that we were very well received. I went to Ohio State Law School because at that time, Ohio State, like many state universities and others, had a program where you could take your first year of law school as your last year of undergraduate and get out in 6 years, and if you had a certain point hour. So I was able to do that at Ohio State, and the professors there were very, very, very welcoming, unlike the experiences that some people had later. I don't know whether there were so few of us, whether that made the difference or what, but later girls told me they had much more problem in law school than I had at that time. But it was an interesting experience.
So what book are you talking about today?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about today is a book of essays which do not have to do directly with law, but one of the things that led me to do this was that one of the things you learn in law is that there's another side to almost everything, almost everything. And I'm a big reader of newspapers, and I notice they tend to publish sort of one side of things mostly, or there's a general view. So this is kind of the other side. I have not dealt with publication of it yet, and who knows? But
What's the name of it?
Well, I haven't named it.
Well,
it would be
the
something. It would be
might.
something. Oh yes, the publisher always does names and does illustrate it. It would be something like The Other Side or A Different Take or something like that. But I haven't completed that yet. And I should tell you that I took a hiatus of many years to go practice law because I had stayed home to raise my children, which is when I was writing the books, and it was frustrating dealing with publishers. So I decided to go back to practice of law when my children went off to college. So I've been doing that for a number of years, and I will get back, I'm sure, in this latest venture, but we'll see.
Well, that's so interesting. Thank you very much for talking with us.
Well, it's my pleasure. This is a lovely event.
It certainly
Don't you
is.
think so?
I do. I think it's a great idea, and what a natural for a library.
Glenview is blessed.
It is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're in the Rotary Heritage Reading Room of the Des Plaines Public Library, and it's my pleasure to be talking to Sandra Norland, who's the library administrator here. Sandra, this room looks like something's happening. What's going on?
Well, we are getting ready to complete the renovation of this room so that it looks more like library reading rooms of days gone by.
I see. And how did the Rotary become a part of it?
The Rotary has always been interested in literacy as one of its projects and very interested in community projects. And they wanted to be part of the new library in a way that would enhance reading and the enjoyment of reading in the library.
So, not to be crass, but just to get right to it, the Rotary is going to finance this?
They're financing part of it. They're financing most of it, actually, and they have pledged a donation of $30,000.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
But I think you have an event coming along that's going to have something to do with it. How does that go?
That's right. We, Rotary needed a boost, another fundraiser to get us over the hump. They have already donated $20,000, and we have $10,000 to go in order to complete the pledge from Rotary. So we're going to have an event. It's been about 2 years since we've had a party at the library, so
That's
it was
way
time.
too long.
Yes.
Right.
So we're partying, and we decided this year to do it on the theme of the Dewey Decimal System. We
Now,
thought
Dewey
readers,
Decimal
the
System.
Dewey Decimal System.
Okay.
And for those in the Dewey know that all knowledge was categorized by Melville Dewey into 10 categories.
Yes, I've often thought that was fascinating. And as a child, I used to think, if 12, what would they be? I think he got it right with 10.
I do too.
Yes. And so how does this party work? I'm curious.
Well, there are going to be events throughout the library, programs and displays and entertainment and other interactive events based on the Dewey Decimal System. So we should be able to find something for everyone.
Okay, now help me out here. 900s is sort of history and travel.
Yes.
And
We're going to have a wonderful talk on the Columbian Exposition.
oh, that's good. And so now we're talking to Eldon Burke and Susan Burrows, who are on the board of the Des Plaines Public Library. Susan, what's this room going to look like?
Picture going back in time to maybe the Edwardian period, the early
so this is-
1900s.
Right.
The walls will all be paneled. We will have framed prints and photographs of the past history of Des Plaines.
So Des Plaines, is that old?
Des Plaines is more than 160 years old.
Really?
It was before the Civil War. We'll have window seats with curtains that you can curl up on. This is our room that does not allow technology. We want people to come in
No
here.
Edwardian technology.
No Edwardian technology. We want people to come in here, curl up with a good book. We have a wonderful donor who donated books to be put in this room that would be the classics.
Oh, that's
And we
great.
envision this room as a getaway within the modern computerized rest of the library.
Oh, this is great. I
We're
love it.
very excited that the Rotary has partnered with us to finish this room.
Yeah. So, Eldon, the board got involved in this too.
We certainly did. The community has been extremely generous from the conception of the library with all the fundraisers we've had, the brick program, et cetera. But this program especially, we've had support from a number of restaurants and business people around. Just an example, the new Midwest Bank, who is merging with Covest, is covering the cost of all the programs.
Let me introduce Kevin Kerberg with the Des Plaines Rotary Club. Kevin, what was it about this project that interested you all in getting involved? It sounds like a lot of work.
Well, it has been a lot of work. I think, as Sandra mentioned, the Rotary Club has been active in literacy and community service work, and what better organization than the library to host this function.
It sounds like a lot of fun, too, besides the work. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to visit a library near you and find out, either in person or online, what's new.